Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VC TV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Today, we're going to be speaking about family offices and their efforts in building startups, along with companies in general. We're also going to be talking about the deployment of capital and investing into developing countries around the world, what that looks like from a family office perspective, and what that means as well. And I'm joined by two of my outstanding colleagues and co-hosts from around the world who are in this space proper. They run family offices. They are a family office. They're investing in developing regions and countries around the world, and they are building startups as well. But before we introduce both Peter and Gary, a quick thank you and shout out to LATOKEN team, to Maria and Hasmik for making today's episode possible. And if you haven't done so already, please do check out latoken.com to see more of VCTV and the entire VCTV family of speakers and investors from around the world. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's jump right in. Gary Fowler, the Grand Master, ladies and gentlemen, of artificial intelligence, and the one and only to go to the quantum universe and come back. Mr. Fowler, a little intro and background, please.
I'm not worthy, Kyle. I'm not worthy. That's crazy. Thanks. It's great to be here. It's great to be with my friend Peter and yourself, Kyle. My name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I love artificial intelligence and quantum computing. I've been involved in 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team, Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai. I am the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio working with VCs and family offices from around the world to bring opportunities to those that don't have them. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. We work in 24 countries today and a lot of effort in places like India and Africa, Latin America, places where other people go, but sometimes don't find the opportunities we do. Thank you. And now my friend Peter.
Peter, my co-host has offered the introduction to you, so it's your turn.
I'm trying to see if I'm worthy after going after Gary's, who's a good and dear friend and colleagues, come after him. But nonetheless, Peter Plout. I am the executive director of the Weimer Family Office. We are a 5-family, multi-billion-dollar family office based in London and Denmark. As a family office, our core business is investing in real estate around the world. However, we do look to technology in terms of both investments and how it could help us. Yesterday, we had a great call with Gary and Kyle and Raghu on AI and cryptocurrency and crypto security, which is obviously very important. I should mention that Per Weimer is a dear friend of Richard Branson and will be the first Danish astronaut into space on the next Virgin Galactic mission, as he is a true astronaut and has done all his training for that. Today's topic is on startups. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about how we invest, influence, encourage startups, and how our families started in that space as well.
Peter, let's kick it right off. I mean, tell us the journey that has led you to where you and the family offices that you work with are at, as this, this is quite a journey. And for the Weimer family office, you guys have done a lot, as you previewed to us. So tell us the journey of kind of where you started and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so look, my background is 35 years of banking, private equity, credit fund experience going back to the late 80s. So I've been involved for the last 35 years in raising capital for companies, anywhere from small companies to extremely large companies, from privately listed companies to publicly listed companies. So I think I can add a lot of value in terms of when we look at the space. A family office, it's important. What is a family office? A family office could be a multifamily office or could be a single family office. It's usually when significant wealth has been created by the founder of a particular company or companies, to the extent that he now has enough wealth or she has enough wealth for multi-generations, and want to protect that multi-generational wealth by bringing in institutional quality asset managers to run that business for them. So you look at us as a bond investor, possibly in terms of we want to obviously protect the capital of the multi-generations that come after us. But at the same time, we want to take risk and tailored risk for opportunities that present themselves, because you can't make money simply on sitting and clipping a coupon. You obviously need to put significant capital out there and try to get equity returns, but we try to measure those returns relative to the risks that we're taking. So again, family office, the foundation of the start of a family office comes from a gentleman or lady that has started a business. It doesn't have to be in technology. It could be making widgets. And that business has grown exponentially to the point now that the money that's been generated has to be professionally managed. Once we get to the point that a family office or multifamily is coming together, the amount of wealth that is created is quite significant and could rival some of the largest asset managers in the world. And that wealth is only growing exponentially over time. So not only do we want to find great investment opportunities for the families, but we also want to encourage the next generation of startups by putting our capital into not just core real estate and art and other things, but also into the next generation of companies that are out there. So we always are looking at the fringe for investments that could add value, not just to ourselves, but also to those that we could help. And that's not a philanthropic in any sense of the word. That is, we're obviously looking to get paid for the risk that we're taking. But if we can encourage someone else on that journey, it benefits everyone.
And Peter, the journey for the Weimer family office, you had mentioned that you had started a few businesses that led you to this point of where you are. Can you share a little bit more about what that process was like of starting a company and starting a startup? And maybe do you guys start startups today as well? Or do you mostly just invest in those new companies and new areas of technology that may be arising?
So let's start back on, Per Weimer started the business about 13 years ago, after he left Goldman Sachs. After he left Goldman and was lucky enough to be a benefit from when Goldman went public, created his family office. And the money that was created from that family office allowed him to not only create the family office, but then to also invest in both startups as well as existing larger industries. So I would say Per has been at the forefront in investing in some interesting startup companies that have made significant returns, but as an investor rather than a creator of that company. Over the last decade or so, Per has been very close with a number of family offices, and those families were started by people that have actually started businesses that created tremendous wealth. Today, when you look at Weimer Family Office and Weimer Financial, our investment banking boutique, we have a joint venture with a 5-family multi-billion-dollar family office. So we have tremendous amount of capital and firepower to invest in existing businesses as well as to invest in startups. The reality of the situation is, rather than build businesses ourselves at this stage, what we like to do is provide our equity and debt financing to help others grow their business, to the extent that they're looking for a more friendly and flexible solution than that would be otherwise provided by a private equity firm or publicly listed firm. Our capital can help them stay in the private space and grow the business that way.
Thank you, Peter. And with a perfect transition over to you, Gary, you and also those that you work with in your family office invests in many regions around the world. You also work with a lot of other family offices on starting those new companies, working with new technologies and investing in new regions. Walk us through what this journey has been like and what that journey is like as a family office starting a business from scratch. As Peter mentioned, as a family office, and his in particular, they have a lot of firepower behind them in terms of their resources, their knowledge, their relationships, and their capital, which is almost a leg up in some respects to the average founder today. So what has that journey been like for you, having been an entrepreneur, again, going into a family office and now starting companies and
Well,
investing in new areas?
it's a great journey because I met Peter on VCTV, and Peter's been incredible. I mean, it's having the key to the door to get in and having those contacts and a trusted network. I mean, family offices aren't easy to get to, Kyle, and you've got to have those trusted connections. So what has it been like? I mean, this is a really incredible world. You're talking about with some of the highest net worth people in the world who want to invest in incredible companies, incredible startups, incredible ideas, incredible people. And they're looking for that path. And it's really a trusted network. So as Peter said, it's about preserving multi-generational wealth. So it's an interesting opportunity to be able to really expand your network. And of course, when you're dealing with some of the family offices, they have incredible contacts and connections to be able to help you with captains of industry, with other venture capital firms, with other family offices. It's really, it's an alternative from my perspective to venture capital. It's just a different kind of an animal. And, you know, what we do is we started out with the premise, as I said, is intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. We've been spending a lot of time all over Africa, Nigeria, Zambia, Ghana, Kenya, Egypt, all over South Africa. And the reason is there's 1.3 billion people. And what we need to do is be able to give them a voice, be able to give them a presence in a place like Silicon Valley so they can take their companies global, so they can realize their dreams. And, you know, on one side of it, it's about being able to have great, incredible opportunities to make money. And the other side, as Steve Jobs used to say, putting a little dent in the universe. So helping somebody help their families to be able to realize the potential. And look at companies like Flutterwaves out of Nigeria. In fact, we're working with them on something today through GSD. But here's a company that's now a unicorn. So they're there. The key is to go out and be able to mine them. What the family offices are looking for, they're looking for impact, they're looking for opportunities, and they're looking at building long-term relationships.
In that process of building long-term relationships and, for instance, investing in an emerging or transiting market like Africa, what has that process been like, bringing family offices into a new market with new technology, with new companies as well? I mean, Africa has been, we're going to be talking about India a little later today on VCTV. So talk to us about what it's been like bringing companies and family offices to Africa to start investing and building within the region.
Yeah, I mean, we work in 24 countries, including India. We have a lot of presence in India also. But I mean, first of all is to identify where those companies are and then vet them in terms of, is their technology really cool or not? Are the founders really interesting or not? Can they lead their company? And then are they ready to be able to go global? And once you start to curate them to help them understand their full potential, then it's a time, because you don't want to take them to a family office or any investor when they're not really ready for that journey. So what does that mean? That means helping them with their pitch decks. That means helping them tell their story. That means helping them get the contacts, the right kind of advisors. I mean, it's visibility. And of course, now with, you know, the next wave of the pandemic with the Delta virus and Lambda and Iota, which is really bad here in Florida, by the way, Delta, it's a matter of using the medium, using Zoom, using StreamYard, using LinkedIn and Facebook, using it wisely to be able to catch your attention. And I have to say, for the startups that are out there, make sure that you have an online presence, that you spend time writing articles and doing videos, being involved in pitching competitions, because the first thing that those family offices are going to look at is they're going to Google your name. As soon as you get online with them, they're going to want to see who you are, what kind of things have you done, and who do they know that you're connected to on LinkedIn that could give them a reference for you.
That's great advice. Peter, any additional advice that you would give to those looking to build a relationship or build a company as we're speaking about startups, building a company with a family office as well.
So look, a family office is not a venture capital, right? We're not looking for that 10x, 20x type of return and expect that return. We're not looking to control a company. We're not looking to put a management team in a company. For the most part, family offices are passive investors, okay? And I want to highlight once again, we're looking to protect multi-generational wealth. So if we're going to invest in a startup or startup-like company, it's going to be at the margin of that capital, meaning that investment's not going to dramatically change the style or the assets of any one or several, if we're talking about a multifamily office's investments. So it's going to be a smaller portion of the overall assets and something that could be easily lost if needed, you might say. So if they're not going to really change the dynamics of the wealth of those families or family, okay, it's got to be something that's quite interesting to the family, okay, from both the return point of view, as well as something that they truly believe in, as Gary mentioned. So one thing I think is most important is it's the relationship. We're looking to find people and companies that will be an extension of our existing family. So we're really looking for those relationships to be long-term in nature. We don't want to just fund your one company. We want to be there for a long time, and it might be generational in that sense. Our equity, if we're providing it, can be multi-generational. It can be there for the long term. It could be there very short. If we're advised that by the company that we're taking capital from, they sold the company, want to sell the company, we'll likely take the advice from that management team. If they need better management, as Gary mentioned, in terms of our relationships and the companies and portfolio of companies, it's quite vast, it's broad, it's deep. So we have a very deep bench. So we can be helpful in that sense. I think you need to look at family offices for the most part as risk averse to begin with. Okay. So very risk averse, but willing to take a stand for an adequate return for the risk that's being taken. And for the people that we invest in, it's going to be more of a passive investment. Okay, so we're going to want to have companies that have the management team already there that we could trust. And that basically means the company we're investing in becomes an extension of our existing family.
I love it. It's great advice, Peter. Thank you so much. Gary, closing thoughts and where can you be found online? So closing thoughts today, focused around family offices, building startups. Any advice to give both to family offices or startups? And then where can you be found if they're looking to work with you or continue to learn more about GST?
Yeah, sure. The family offices are the holy grail. You got one guy right here, Peter Plout. I mean, he's the guru. He's the wizard of the family offices. So I suggest if you are a high net worth individual and looking to connect with somebody, connect with Peter. I mean, he's a good guy. He's got a lot of connections and sound advice. So that's door number one. Door number two is this is a great time. Family offices are like the holy grail of opportunities. Seek out those family offices, develop the relationships with them, talk to them about the things you have to offer. Make sure if you have some revenue, it's even better because they want to make sure that it's moving forward. But reach out to them and start to develop those relationships and use mediums just like VCTV because you have people like Peter and yourself, Kyle, here that can really help them. So you can reach me, Gary Fowler, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and check out my shows. In fact, I have the Founders Report with Zen Sams coming up, actress and elite model and entrepreneur coming up shortly. So check it out.
Thank you very much, Gary. Peter, the wizard, Plout, can you tell us any closing thoughts that you may have around today's topic and also advice for those out there, but also where can you be found for those looking to connect and learn more?
So look, a family office is a very private situation. It's not easy. You can't just simply go on Google and Google the top 10 family offices and then just go into them. There are databases of 2,000 family offices, and you can download that or you can buy that. It's highly unlikely somebody's going to take your call. This is not Goldman Sachs. It's not an investment bank. It's not an asset manager that you can call up. It's very relationship based. They're very private. They're very exclusive. So how do you get access to a club like that? Look, reach out to me. I have a very deep network of family offices. Reach out to Gary. Gary and you, Kyle, have a very deep network of family offices, venture capital firms as well. The reason why we participate in VCTV is we want to help others get access to capital on a global basis that they wouldn't otherwise have that access to. And like I mentioned, it should be a friendly and open forum. We want to help others. It's not a philanthropic advertisement at all. We're simply looking for good people, good relationships to build on and entrust them with our multi-generational wealth. Venture capital money still is also a good way if you're a startup to get access to capital. In both cases, you need a solid management team. You have to have a great idea that you've executed on and really willing to take the dive on that idea and generate 24/7 to it. If that skill set's there, we're here to help you manage that relationship, not just with family office, but also venture capital, and help you on your journey. We could tell you, Gary and I and others that are on this show could tell you whether if you have a great idea, show it to us. Show us what you're doing with that idea, what you have executed on with that idea, and we will give you the advice to hopefully help you be successful. Because that's what we're all trying to do here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on a show like this today.
Peter, Gary, thank you so much for everything today, your insights, your wisdom, and your advice as well, and then telling your journeys as family offices. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to today's episode. Also, as both Carrie and Peter mentioned, please do reach out to all three of us. We would love to hear what you're working on. But when you do, please add context, where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. A big thank you to LATOKEN team, to Maria and Hasmik for making today's episode possible. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll be back here in just a little bit with more VCTV. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.